For the rest of us, it's more a question of, okay, we have to shift the way we support. And that's what we need to do.
And what does that shift look like for you?
In a stunning development, Princess Anne and King Charles have declared that they can no longer keep a devastating secret any longer. The statement has sparked widespread speculation about the nature of the revelation. But what secret have they vowed to reveal, and how will their admission change the course of the monarchy forever? Join us to uncover the details. The hidden love story that changed the royal family. Long before Queen Camilla became a well-known name in royal history, a quiet and tender story was unfolding inside the palace walls. It wasn't the usual fairy tale about a prince and a beautiful maiden. This was a gentle, heartfelt connection between the calm, practical Princess Anne and a handsome army officer named Andrew Parker Bowles. Though their story didn't make bold headlines, it would one day shape the future of the royal family in ways no one could have imagined. In the early 1970s, Anne and Andrew were more than just casual friends. They shared laughter, honest conversations, and an easy comfort in each other's company. Their bond grew naturally, filled with simple moments and genuine care. The palace whispers spoke of their closeness, and many believed this could have blossomed into something lasting and beautiful. It wasn't a fleeting romance, it was real, warm, and sincere. But as with many royal love stories, tradition and duty stepped in. The problem wasn't scandal or family disapproval, but faith. Andrew was a devoted Catholic, and in those days, a Protestant princess like Anne marrying a Catholic was strictly forbidden by royal rules. The laws of the monarchy were clear, leaving no room for exceptions, no matter how deep the affection. And so, with quiet hearts and gentle goodbyes, Anne and Andrew drifted apart. There were no angry words, no public heartbreak. They simply stepped away from each other, carrying their unspoken sadness with grace, as expected in royal life. Waiting quietly in the background of this tender story was a young woman named Camilla Shand. She was part of the same social circle, and had once shared a spark with Andrew. When Anne and Andrew's bond ended, Andrew turned back to Camilla. Their relationship, familiar and steady, rekindled easily. In 1973, Camilla married Andrew and became Mrs. Parker Bowles, but the story didn't stop there. Around the same time, Prince Charles, Princess Anne's elder brother, was falling deeply in love with Camilla too. Their connection was powerful and honest, filled with shared laughter and understanding. Charles adored her, and Camilla cared for him just as much. Yet royal life rarely allows love to bloom freely. The expectations of the crown, the opinions of the public, and the weight of family tradition forced Charles to choose duty over his heart. With a heavy heart, Charles stepped away from Camilla, and in his absence, Camilla moved on with her life. She married Anne's former sweetheart, continuing her path within high society, while Charles was left to navigate royal life without the woman he truly loved. Years passed. The royal family saw joy, sorrow, and endless change. Princess Anne, always loyal and steady, devoted herself to her duties. She became known as one of the hardest-working royals, quietly earning respect and admiration without ever seeking the spotlight. Meanwhile, Prince Charles married Lady Diana Spencer, a beautiful young woman adored by the public. Their wedding was a grand fairy tale-like event, watched by millions around the world. But behind the smiles and glittering ceremonies, their marriage carried quiet struggles, misunderstandings, and loneliness. In 1997, tragedy struck with the sudden death of Princess Diana. The royal family, already weighed down by decades of private heartaches and public pressures, was deeply shaken. Old wounds resurfaced, and the balance within the family shifted once more. And this wasn't the end of this romantic cycle. There's more to it. But what more does it hold? Stay with us. A love rekindled. Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles shared a love story unlike any other in royal history. It was a gentle tale of obstacles, quiet heartbreaks, and the heavy weight of public judgment. Yet through everything, their bond never truly broke. Even when life and duty forced them apart, something soft and unshaken remained between them. After years of personal struggles and harsh words from the public, Charles and Camilla slowly found their way back to each other. Both had faced divorces, painful headlines, and whispers behind palace walls. But with time, their bond grew stronger. Charles, once careful to keep their connection secret, decided it could no longer stay hidden. He made it clear that Camilla was part of his life for good. He would no longer pretend. He stood by her, no matter what others thought. To help ease Camilla into royal life, Charles asked a trusted aide, Mark Bolland, to guide her public image. Together, they worked to introduce Camilla not as a reminder of royal troubles, but as a kind and steady figure beside the future king. Life wasn't easy for Camilla in those years. The memory of Diana lingered. Supporters of the late princess filled newspapers with letters and voiced their anger. Social media wasn't kind either. Yet Camilla quietly moved forward. In July 1997, she survived a frightening car accident on her way to Highgrove House. Thankfully, no one was seriously hurt. After that, she began appearing more often with Charles at private events. Slowly, the once-hidden romance started becoming part of daily royal life. A turning point came in 1999, when Charles and Camilla made their first public appearance together at a birthday party for Camilla's sister at the Ritz Hotel in London. The event was small, but the excitement was huge. Nearly 200 photographers gathered outside, eager to capture the moment. It was a quiet but powerful sign. They were no longer hiding. In the years that followed, Camilla stepped more comfortably into royal duties. In 2000, she traveled to Scotland with Charles for official events. A year later, she became president of the Royal Osteoporosis Society, her first role in public service without Charles by her side. It gave her a voice of her own and showed people a new side of her, one devoted to meaningful causes. On April 9, 2005, Charles and Camilla married. It wasn't a grand royal event, but a quiet, personal ceremony. Their parents stayed away, leaving Camilla's son Tom and Prince William as witnesses. The Queen and Prince Philip joined later for a blessing at Windsor Castle. It wasn't about titles, it was about two people choosing each other, at last. The celebration was simple but filled with emotion. Beautiful music from the St. George's Chapel Choir and the Philharmonia Orchestra created a touching moment. A Belarusian mezzo-soprano sent from St. Petersburg sang a heartfelt piece, leaving a lasting memory for the couple, the strength of Princess Anne. From the very start, Princess Anne has always been a figure of quiet strength within the British royal family. While many around her faced scandals and public drama, Anne stayed focused on what truly mattered: her responsibilities, her family, and her promise to uphold royal tradition. She wasn't interested in chasing attention or stirring excitement. Instead, she built a reputation based on hard work, resilience, and grace. Anne was never the loudest voice in the room, but her steady presence always made a difference. In a world where titles are handed down, she earned her respect through years of commitment. The public, and even the royal family itself, came to see her as their rock, someone reliable in good times and bad. Since becoming an adult, Princess Anne has carried out more than 20,000 official duties, often surpassing her relatives in numbers and devotion. In her younger days, the press nicknamed her royal rudeness because she didn't care much for reporters or their constant questions. She was known for being blunt and avoiding the cameras, but beneath that tough exterior was a woman deeply committed to her role and the people she served. Anne made bold choices, too, like deciding not to give royal titles to her children, raising them as private citizens, a practical, down-to-earth move that set her apart. Princess Anne didn't just show up for grand ceremonies. She worked hard behind the scenes, championing causes that didn't always make headlines, like inclusive sailing programs and lighthouse preservation. One of her most meaningful commitments was to Save the Children, a charity she has supported for decades. Though it took her time to grow comfortable with public speaking, she never gave up, proving that impact isn't measured by noise. As the years passed, Anne earned her reputation as the most hardworking royal. Between 2002 and 2022, she attended over 11,000 official engagements. Away from royal events, she lived simply, repairing fences, cheering at her daughter's equestrian events, and wearing outfits she had owned for years. Long before it was trendy, Anne recycled her wardrobe, choosing timeless British styles over flashy pieces. A complicated chapter came in 2005 when Prince Charles married Camilla Parker Bowles. The public had mixed feelings, but Anne, as always, remained calm. She gave no interviews, made no statements. Still, the situation touched her more deeply than many realized. Before Camilla married Charles, she'd been married to Andrew Parker Bowles, a man Anne had once been romantically linked to. Their quiet past added an unspoken tension. Despite this, Anne and Camilla never argued or caused scenes at royal gatherings. Their personalities were simply different. Anne followed strict royal protocol, always polished and proper, while Camilla preferred a relaxed, casual style. This contrast spoke volumes without a word. Anne represented the traditions that shaped the family for generations, while Camilla symbolized a new, modern way. Their quiet, respectful bond showed that even in royalty, people can approach duty in different ways. Now let's look at this devastating secret that couldn't be held for one more day. What message does it carry? Let's dive into it. Duty, distance, and the crown's battle. Royal palaces are filled with stories the public never hears. These stories aren't told through dramatic speeches or loud arguments, but through small gestures, quiet choices, and the kind of looks that say more than words ever could. One such story belongs to Princess Anne and Queen Camilla, two women linked by duty, history, and a relationship far more complicated than it appears on the surface. Princess Anne has always been known as the steady hand of the royal family. While others found themselves caught in scandals or chased the spotlight, Anne quietly carried on. She took on thousands of royal duties, supported charities that rarely made headlines, and became known as the one person the family could always count on. Where others wavered, Anne remained firm. She valued tradition, hard work, and modesty, never seeking attention for herself. Her sense of duty never failed, even when faced with personal challenges. One moment, small to outsiders but heavy with meaning, spoke volumes about Anne's feelings. After Camilla was officially made queen consort, tradition required Anne, as the king's sister, to curtsy. But Anne didn't. It was a quiet decision, unnoticed by most, but for those who understood royal traditions, it meant everything. It wasn't a public rebellion, but perhaps a reflection of years of unspoken emotions and a complex history between them. Still, Anne made sure her personal feelings never disturbed the image of a united royal family. In public, she was always graceful and polite, acknowledging Camilla's position beside King Charles. They exchanged pleasant words, stood side by side at official events, and performed their duties together. But to those who paid close attention, there was an unmistakable tension in the air. Not loud or messy, but a thin, careful space between them. Behind the palace walls, away from cameras and crowds, things were quieter and more complicated. The private life of the royal family isn't as dramatic as the movies suggest. It's more like a careful game where every move is weighed, every word chosen with care. For Anne and Camilla, their relationship was a delicate balancing act. There was no open hostility, but neither was there deep friendship. One evening inside the palace, a private meeting took place that brought years of unspoken tension into the open. It was a serious, honest conversation about duty, responsibility, and what it truly meant to wear a crown. Princess Anne, with her usual calm but firm presence, spoke openly about the role of a queen consort. She wasn't attacking Camilla as a person, but defending a belief she had lived by her entire life. To Anne, being royal wasn't about titles, privilege, or grand palaces. It was about service. Respect was earned through actions, not through status. Anne's words came from a lifetime of personal sacrifice and discipline. She had shaped her world around the idea that duty came first and that respect wasn't automatic. It had to be deserved. Her message wasn't cruel, but it was clear. A royal's true value was measured by their willingness to serve, not by the crown on their head. To her credit, Queen Camilla listened in silence. She understood the challenges she had faced joining the royal family. After the painful passing of Princess Diana, Camilla stepped into a role that came with cold stares, harsh words, and a mountain of public disapproval. She worked quietly for years, supporting charities and taking on royal responsibilities. Yet full acceptance often seemed just out of reach. The memory of the past lingered, and comparisons to Anne's flawless public image were inevitable. Anne symbolized the unbroken traditional spirit of the monarchy, a firm believer in customs and duty. Camilla, on the other hand, represented a changing royal family. She was the face of a more modern, vulnerable, and relatable monarchy, one trying to adapt to a world that no longer blindly followed old rules. Their quiet conversation that night wasn't just about two royal women and their duties. It reflected a larger struggle between tradition and change. Anne stood for sacrifice and order, while Camilla represented adjustment and resilience. They rarely spoke of their emotions openly, but their carefully chosen words and cautious glances spoke volumes. In a world where every gesture is noticed, their relationship was defined by quiet strength, a hidden competition, and an understanding built on duty. Turning point behind palace walls. The gathering within the palace was not your typical royal discussion revolving around timetables or official events. Instead, it delved into a more profound matter, shedding light on the internal conflicts within the monarchy. It went beyond mere choices or courteous discussions. It revolved around the royal family grappling with a fundamental query. How can age-old customs be preserved in a society that values authenticity, kindness, and unity? Many have long viewed the royal family as synonymous with responsibility, protocol, and adherence to customs. Individuals such as Princess Anne embody this stable, dependable persona, one who has dedicated her life to fulfilling her responsibilities with elegance, self-control, and without seeking any attention. However, the landscape is evolving. Society now craves not just symbols of power and formalities, but also genuine emotions, flaws, and intimate narratives. The realm of royalty is no longer as remote as it used to be. Camilla's arrival into society was a complex one, as she faced criticism and disapproval from the public when she joined the royal family. Her experiences were marred by conflict, tragedy, and a long process of redemption. Her encounter with Anne had deeper implications beyond personal emotions, marking a significant moment where tradition clashed with modernity, with both perspectives acknowledging the need for change. Anne departed the room gracefully while Camilla remained, bearing the burden of societal expectations and the understanding that approval was hard to come by in royal realms. In the serene, secluded setting, a significant event transpired, not through commotion or controversy, but through sincere honesty. But before we go deeper, let's take a dive into the bond and relationship between Anne and Charles. This will help unravel the true meaning of this message, the lasting bond of Charles and Anne. With an age difference of just 21 months, King Charles and Princess Anne have always shared a strong and lasting relationship that stands out within the royal family. Their bond isn't built on titles or royal duties, but on years spent side by side, growing up together, sharing childhood memories, and leaning on one another through the highs and lows of royal life. Only siblings raised in such a unique world can truly understand the depth of connection they've held on to. Inside the grand walls of Buckingham Palace, their royal parents were often away on official travels, leaving Charles and Anne to find comfort in each other's company. Their closest companions were not kings, queens, or famous guests, but one another. In the palace nurseries, the vast gardens and hidden corners away from the public, it wasn't Prince Charles and Princess Anne. It was simply Charles and Anne, brother and sister, building a friendship that would last a lifetime. As the years passed and they took on more royal duties, their closeness only grew. What began as playful teasing in their younger days turned into acts of genuine support and affection as adults. Even with all the challenges of their royal positions and the ever-changing public spotlight, the love between Charles and Anne remained steady, weathering every storm that came their way. Though they've always carried important titles and responsibilities, one thing they've never lost is their sense of humor when they're together. At royal events, keen observers often catch them exchanging playful glances or sharing a quiet joke. A touching moment came during Charles's coronation year when a BBC documentary captured Anne greeting her brother with a sweet nickname, a small but beautiful reminder of their deep connection beneath the glittering crowns and royal titles. One of the strongest ties between them has always been their shared love for horses. Their mother, Queen Elizabeth II, was famously passionate about horses, and that love was passed down to both Charles and Anne. Charles found excitement in the sport of polo, competing for various teams, while Anne devoted herself to the structured, demanding world of competitive riding. For both of them, time spent with horses was a peaceful escape from royal obligations, a world where they could just be themselves. Anne didn't just ride for pleasure. She made history by becoming the first member of the British royal family to compete in the Olympic Games. In 1976, she proudly represented Great Britain in Montreal. She also won silver medals in the European Eventing Championships. Anne faced tough challenges along the way, including injuries and even a concussion during one Olympic event, but her spirit remained strong. Charles was always there to cheer her on, taking pride in his sister's achievements and the way she carried herself with quiet grace. Their love for horses didn't stop with them. Anne's daughter, Zara Tyndall, followed in her mother's footsteps, becoming an accomplished equestrian herself. Discussions about horses continue to be a beloved family topic, strengthening not only the bond between Charles and Anne, but also bringing different generations of the family closer together. In 2005, Charles stepped away from polo, but he and Anne stayed connected through their childhood hobby of gardening. As children, they loved planting flowers and taking care of the palace gardens. As adults, gardening became a comforting activity for them both, a way to relax and find peace away from the endless demands of public life. Even now, they both tend to their private gardens, finding calm in the simple joys of nature. During Charles's coronation, Anne was given the special honor of Gold Stick in Waiting, a prestigious role traditionally given to those fiercely loyal to the monarch. This wasn't just a royal title for Anne. It was a touching symbol of her unwavering love, loyalty, and support for her brother. It was a quiet but powerful moment that showed how deep their bond runs, untouched by changing titles or shifting royal responsibilities. Though Anne has, at times, harbored personal doubts about Camilla's place within the royal family, she has never let personal feelings interfere with her public duties. She continues to treat Camilla with respect, following royal customs, and always supporting her brother's position as king. But behind the scenes, it's clear that Anne's loyalty lies firmly with Charles, a bond built not on protocol but on a lifetime of trust, shared memories, and unconditional love. Charles and Anne's relationship reminds everyone that even in the dazzling world of royalty, family ties remain the most precious. They've shown that no matter how heavy the crowns or demanding the duties, the bond between siblings can remain strong and steady. Their connection is one of quiet strength, mutual understanding, and endless support. From carefree days in the palace gardens to the challenging responsibilities of royal life, Charles and Anne have stood side by side, each other's anchor in a world of constant change. Princess Anne's royal wisdom. In a world where quiet traditions guide every step, even the smallest actions can carry great meaning. The British monarchy, famous for its careful manners and old customs, follows rules that often go unnoticed by the public. Yet on a calm Wednesday, November 20th, a gentle but powerful moment took place. A moment that spoke of grace, duty, and heritage without loud headlines or flashy scenes. That day brought a rare sight: Princess Anne and Queen Camilla appearing together for an event outside their usual royal calendar. They visited the University of London for a special occasion. Princess Anne, now 74, continues her tireless service as the university's chancellor. On this day, she was given the honor of presenting Queen Camilla with an honorary doctorate of literature for her heartfelt work promoting reading and the love of books across the country. The event, as expected, was grand, filled with polished speeches, warm applause, and carefully arranged ceremonies. But the most meaningful moment came quietly, away from cameras and speeches, just before the two royal women were set to meet other honorary guests. As they approached the room's entrance, Queen Camilla gracefully gestured for Princess Anne to enter first. To the public, this might have looked like a simple, kind offer. But in royal circles, every action, a glance, a gesture, a single step, follows traditions shaped over centuries. Even who walks through a doorway first carries weight in royal etiquette. Princess Anne, known for her lifelong loyalty to duty and protocol, understood immediately. She responded with a soft smile, a gentle nod, and politely declined the offer. This was not pride or defiance, but a quiet show of respect for the age-old rules of their world. In royal ranking, Queen Camilla, as the wife of King Charles III and Queen Consort, holds a higher position. To outsiders, such etiquette may seem complicated, but within the royal family, it's second nature. An unwritten code that shapes every event, seating plan, and greeting. Princess Anne's graceful refusal reflected not only her royal training, but also her respect for tradition. In that small moment, she showed how the monarchy clings to its customs, even in the gentlest of ways. Beyond protocol, this exchange also revealed something tender, a glimpse of the relationship between these two royal women. Though their history hasn't always been marked by warmth, this small act was filled with quiet kindness. Camilla's thoughtful gesture and Anne's poised response spoke of mutual understanding, not rivalry. It was less about titles and more about shared duties in a world where both have faced unique struggles. Princess Anne, born into royalty and raised within its strict walls, has spent her life carrying the heavy weight of expectation. Queen Camilla, on the other hand, entered the royal world later, surrounded by public judgment and harsh headlines, working steadily to earn her place. Despite these different beginnings, both now stand together in their roles, serving side by side. But while a reconciliation might be possible, there's another rivalry that is unfolding, and that's between Camilla and Catherine. Stay with us. Camilla and Catherine's royal rivalry. In the carefully controlled world of the British royal family, not every disagreement is loud or public. Some quiet conflicts live in small gestures, polite smiles, and carefully planned appearances. One such gentle, unspoken competition has quietly existed between Queen Camilla and Princess Catherine. This was never a dramatic clash or open argument. It was a silent comparison, a constant weighing of presence and popularity. It began the moment Catherine, once known as Kate Middleton, stepped into royal life. Catherine's story touched hearts everywhere. An ordinary girl becoming a royal princess. Though she had no royal blood, her warm nature, natural charm, and simple kindness won the public over. Her marriage to Prince William was celebrated for its calm, steady love. Together, they offered a fresh, relatable face to the monarchy. Catherine didn't chase attention. Her soft smile, honest interest in people, and work for causes like mental health and early childhood care earned genuine respect. She seemed to truly understand people, something rare in royal circles. Each appearance, speech, or charity visit made her more beloved. Many saw Catherine as the perfect modern royal, graceful, approachable, and committed. She wasn't loved because of a title, but for her heart and humility. People began comparing her to Princess Diana, the late People's Princess, and the public's affection for Catherine only grew. Meanwhile, Queen Camilla's story was more complicated. Though she now held the respected title of Queen Consort and worked hard for various causes, shadows from the past followed her. The world remembered her part in the painful end of Charles and Diana's marriage. No matter how hard she worked, public opinion was slow to change. Camilla made honest efforts to win hearts through charity work and royal duties, but comparisons to Catherine were unavoidable. People admired Catherine's simple, relatable style while questioning Camilla's place in the royal family. In public, Camilla and Catherine always appeared friendly, standing side by side with practiced smiles. But for those watching closely, a quiet rivalry could be felt, not through harsh words, but through the air between them. It wasn't jealousy. Catherine's presence was simply magnetic. She drew crowds, made headlines, and whatever she wore sold out instantly. Her kindness and grace spoke louder than any title. She became a symbol of modern royalty. Camilla, though never seeking fame, could not avoid the comparison. Even as Queen Consort, she often stood in Catherine's glowing shadow. In a monarchy where popularity now matters as much as tradition, that difference meant something. Their quiet rivalry reflected a larger challenge within the royal family: how to honor old customs while welcoming change. Catherine naturally embodied this new chapter, while Camilla, shaped by tradition and history, carried a heavier burden. Yet through it all, Camilla held her head high, focusing on her duties and avoiding the spotlight. She faced each day with quiet strength, knowing Catherine's star shone brighter in public eyes. What do you think about Princess Anne's message? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more celebrity gist. Before you go, watch the other videos on your screen.